Hey guys, it's Morgan. Welcome back to the weekly Shlog here at Highland Cycles, where we show you all kinds of super cool tech things, tool spotlights, blown up stuff, how to fix things, all that good stuff. Very soon, Zach and I will be punching each other in the face because we hit 10,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for that. There's a cage match of some sort. I don't know, probably won't actually be in a cage, but it's gonna be good. And I feel like I have probably an advantage now because Zach shaved his face. He's weak. He's weak. And now Leandra, who's gonna win the cage match? She wants to say me, but she knows that'll upset her husband Zach. What's up?
Someone was wondering if you knew what jets to use here for a can carburetor on a Shlog.
If he's coming from sea level, I would go. Let me talk to him because that'd be easier.
He's not interrupted.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, that's all right. This is Morgan. How's it going? Hey, Dirk, what's happening? I mean, what I would do is whatever's in there, because, you know, I don't know, they all draw differently. I would go, I usually start at like 4 down on the main, and then the pilot is really weird, subjective, because some companies put a huge pilot in them, and some companies put a tiny pilot in them. Right on, dude. Take care. Bye. All right, that was our friend Dirk asking about jetting on a brand new Shlog. So we're trying to work on that. I'll get back to you guys with that as soon as we figure that out too. So let's get after it. Alright guys, first on my lift is this older KX250F. We are checking valves. It seems to start pretty good when it's cold, and then runs fine. It doesn't die while he's riding it, but when he shuts it off and tries to start it again when it's hot, it doesn't like to start. So a lot of times that is a valve issue. Sometimes they do the opposite of that, like they don't want to start cold but they'll run when they're warm, and that's generally because a warm motor is easier to start than a cold motor, just by the nature of motors. But this is a common problem too, because the metal grows when it gets hot, and then it holds the valves open when it's hot, and then it loses compression. So we've got the top of her off, intake cam here, exhaust cam there. Gonna go grab some feeler gauges and see if we can't find out what's going on. So intakes ought to be between 4 and 6 thousandths. So I'm gonna start with a 3. I need to get a 2, a skinny one like this. I don't have one. I broke it and I haven't replaced it yet. So 3 is the smallest one I got. So that goes easy on that one. Goes easy on that one. So may not have good news. Maybe something else. Could be, the other thing I was thinking is maybe a stator. So 4 goes on both. Actually, the left intake seems maybe kind of loose. Let's see what a 6 will do. Seems okay on the left. Left might be a little bit loose, but that wouldn't cause what we're dealing with. So honestly, my next guess, I'm going to check the exhaust valves also. Let's do that. Those should be between 6 and 8. All right. So valves are not tight at all. Not even a little bit. So now my next guess is the stator. So I'm going to have to set you guys down, look up some stator specs, and see if I can't figure out what we're supposed to be getting for ohms. And I'm going to check that, and I'll check back in with you guys. Alright guys, so I found the stator specs. I tested them. They were actually all within spec. On this bike, let me show you. It's this plug right here, and you start with the black red, and then the red white is over here, and then you do white and yellow leads. They were both good. There's some primary windings and secondary windings. There must be a pickup coil test too. I didn't find that, but that's okay. I'm going to run it and see if those change a bunch. The thing with stators is that a lot of times they'll be fine when they're cold and they haven't run, and then they go south as you heat the bike up. But this bike actually started, yeah, there it goes, started really easily without the choke, and so I'm wondering if maybe it's too rich anyway. Also, the air filter doesn't look so good. Pretty dry, pretty dirty. So we'll take that off and look in there in a second. I'll check in with you guys on that one. But I'm gonna fire this thing back up here real fast and keep it running and see if I can't get it a little bit warmer, and then see how hard it is to start when it's actually warm. Alright, so I turned the idle up just so it'll keep running. But when I started it, it started with the hot start, which is also leading me towards believing maybe the thing is just too rich on the bottom. Because the hot start, if you guys don't know, all that really does is open another passageway in the carburetor for air to lead it out. So it's like you tip the bike over to flush or whatever, it just helps lead the bike out and start it easier. So I'm going to fiddle with the fuel screw here really fast, see if that changes anything, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so I fiddled with the carburetor, actually put a smaller pilot jet in it, and actually made it run better, which is good. But I then turned it off, and now it won't restart. And I've been kicking and kicking and kicking, and it won't restart. I took the spark plug cap off, put another plug in it, and can't really see any sparks. So now I'm going to check these stator resistances again, see if I can find out which one is the pickup coil, and then go from there. But I have a feeling we've got a bad stator. Alright guys, I think we got to the bottom of it. So I went ahead and took the spark plug actually out of the head, so I could roll it over by hand pretty quickly and see if it sparks. And let's see. See if I can do this without moving the camera too much. So no sparky now that it's warm. So I checked the pickup coil resistance. It's within spec, but as far as I'm concerned, it's got to be a stator, because CDIs don't do the heat up thing and then fail generally. It's usually a stator or a coil. Coil tests out good. Yeah, so I think this thing has stator's crap the bed. Also, when I pulled the spark plug out of the head, this one is actually a brand new one that I just put in there. I put another new one in it and ran, but then I pulled that out and it was already starting to get pretty dark. So that is usually an indication of the stator failing too, because the spark gets weak before it actually goes away totally, and when it gets weak, it doesn't burn all the gas and fouls the plug. So, all right, gonna look up a stator, give this guy a call. We'll check back in when we get it all fixed up and let you know if that's what it was. Lose my mind. All right, guys. Next on the lift is this lovely WR. It's a 250F, and we are going to be turning it into a bit of an adventure bike. It's owned by a good friend of ours. She already has it lowered, fits her really well. She has another like dedicated dirt bike, and she wants to kind of do some more long, like dual sporty, adventure-y rides. So she dropped this thing off a little while ago, and we got some parts coming. So join me as we turn this WR into kind of a mini dual sport / adventure bike. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, guys. Starting this thing off with a nice giant gas tank from IMS. Let's see. I think this thing is just over 3 gallons. Let's see. Not sure. What up, G-Love? Alright guys, sorry. So, big tank. It's a 3.2 gallon, I believe is what it is, from IMS. It's pretty cool. The one thing you guys need to know that I actually forgot about, but it's in the instructions, which is cool, is that when you run this on an 07 and up WR, like that's not the fuel injected one, then you have to get YZ shrouds, which I don't have. That's no big deal. It's just that the bolt holes are not quite lined up for the WR shrouds, so you got to get YZ shrouds. Another thing to notice, which they don't mention in the instructions, is that on the petcock, when it's on the bike, you need to have it facing backwards, because it used to be that the petcock was kind of like, well, anyway, it used on the stock tank, it lives up in here, goes down to the carburetor. Now that it's over here, you have to turn around so the outlet goes out back to the carb. So mount it backwards. You can still get to it, no problem. I put it on there to check, easy enough to get to, so that's all good. Now, the next thing we're gonna do is make this thing street legal. So, and we got a big gnarly headlight for it. Let me show you the headlight. We got ourselves a Baja Designs. This is a Squadron Sport. This is like 3,700 lumens, I believe, is what it is. And we got it set up with their little box that is basically a regulator, rectifier, and a capacitor, so that when you plug this in, it can run off the AC lighting, because this bike, the headlight runs on the AC circuit. It actually doesn't run on the battery. It doesn't. So that's why when you push the button for the ignition on these, the headlight doesn't come on. The taillight does, but the headlight doesn't. So I think this is pretty much plug and play. We're gonna take a look at everything, but let's go ahead and mount this thing up and we'll just take a look at it. So guys, this is pretty sweet because it is just a plug and play. You can see this is the stock plug for Yamaha, and here is the plug that comes on the kit. So that is just gonna plug right together. There we go. And we're just gonna set it here for now, make sure everything works. I think the bike starts. It's been kind of hanging out for a little while, but I'm pretty sure that it does still start. Well, not like that. Hang on. It's awesome. So that thing is super bright. Much brighter than the stock was. Horn already works. So that's awesome. Now I think I gotta check, but yeah, so it already has brake light switch. I gotta check and make sure that's working, and then that's it. I gotta check. I gotta go through my list of things that we're doing, but we got new sprockets for it to give it a little longer legs on the road, and we gotta wait for those shrouds, unfortunately, because like I said, I spaced that out, but we did find a set that's available. But now I'm going to figure out what the best way to mount this is. I don't think it actually might just work with out, but they have some extensions on it. I'm going to try to do it without putting the extensions, because let me show you guys. These things, these are like the extensions to kind of hold it out. They break a lot. They broke on 2 of my bikes at least. So anyway, I'm gonna try to see if I can use the little strappy guys to just have that you know, go without those things, because it's just a lot better setup. Alright guys, the headlight worked out great without having to use those extensions. Fits nice and tight, it feels good and solid. Really happy about that. I checked, the brake light works already, it's already got a horn, everything's good to go. It just hasn't ever been inspected. So now what we gotta do is put DOT legal tires on it. Real quick, I'll go over the things that you're required to have in this state, which is nice. You just have to have a headlight, a taillight, a brake light, a horn, and a mirror, and then DOT legal tires, and that is it. And we here at the shop will take care of all that for you and get the paperwork filled out and done for you 100%, so that all you have to do is go down to the courthouse and get a license plate. Works out really, really good. So yeah, I got some DOT legal tires, just got some Shinkos. They're actually great tires. It's a 216 front and a 216 rear. They're DOT, and then we'll pretty much be done. I'm just waiting on those radiator shrouds for that, and then that's it. We'll be ready to rock and roll. All right, guys. So next on the left is my son's YZ144. Hey, Thomas. So a couple weeks ago, we were riding on Thursday night, and Thomas had a crash, not a bad one, but he crashed and it cut a radiator hose that we didn't notice, and it got rid of all of, or at least most of the coolant, and we didn't really notice it, sadly, while that was happening. And then as he was going, it started running weird. Now fortunately it did not stop, it didn't lock up, it didn't, you know, cause the thing to seize or anything like that. So we're really hoping we can get away with just a piston, but we're going to take it apart and find out. So right now he is going to be busy taking the coolant hoses and stuff like that off of it, and draining the coolant out, getting the motor mounts out of the way. Then we're going to take the pipe out of the way, and we're going to slide the cylinder off and see what it looks like. All right, got everything loose. Going to try to pull up on her, get these out of the way. There you go, buddy. Come up nice and easy. There we go. Go nice and easy. I'm going to hold on to it. Alright. So, I think we may have gotten lucky. We're going to take a look at this cylinder. So, the first thing I'm doing, guys, is I'm just grabbing a hold of this crank and trying to go up and down, and it's not moving at all. So that makes me really, really happy. Like, really happy. So that's good. Seems like the crankshaft should be fine. The ring is stuck in there, so I'm thinking that's what happened. So we got some marks. What we're going to do is we're going to run a ball hone through it and see how that cleans up. So I'm going to put you guys down. Actually, I'll bring you over. Let's go do that. Alright guys, got a ball hone. The most controversial thing we do here at Highland Cycles is we hone stuff. Hoping I'm feeling a little something there, but I'm really hoping it's stuff left from the piston. So I'm going to chop that off. See, hold it. That's right. There you go. Gotta hold that. Alright. So then, there, Thomas. So I go do it real slow as get it all nice and wet. So I'm gonna come in here, put that on, speed it up.
There's a good girl. I had to film footage.
You got that camera?
Yeah.
You got lucky. Like it. Alright guys, so we got super lucky. This cylinder looks really, really good, which is honestly crazy to think, considering that it stopped and all that. But fortunately, Thomas had the presence of mind to notice that it was not running that good, and he actually turned it off. We didn't let it. He didn't actually have the thing stop on him, so it didn't start after we redid. You know, we stopped, but so yeah, we should be good. So now we're gonna clean up the gasket surfaces and all that stuff. I'm gonna put a new piston on this thing, and we're gonna go back together and go ride tonight. All right, guys, we got her done. So I didn't film it in depth. I've done a lot of two-stroke top ends, but the boy and I worked together, got her done, and I think we're gonna be good. So, leaking gas. That's weird. How's it looking again? Here, hang on. Now, which it didn't do before. There we go. I don't know why that happened, but sometimes floats get stuck when they hang out for a little while. It was off for a little while. It might be still dripping, but anyway, let's see if it starts. He hasn't even done anything yet, so let's see if she fires up. I bet it does. noticed is there was water dripping right there. It's because the bottom end was full of water. The reason the bottom end was full of water was because after he overheated it and it died, we poured water back in it to hopefully try to ride it back to the truck. When we did that, it cooled everything down, and the water went everywhere inside the motor and the pipe and everything because the head gasket failed anyway because it cooled off and all that stuff. So that's just water. What I'm gonna have to do, Thomas do, is throw a helmet on right now and go ride this thing up and down the road and get all the water out of there so it's ready to go for tonight. So got her fixed, super stoked. That does happen sometimes. Sometimes you get lucky and you overheat one really bad and it doesn't actually ruin the motor. We got lucky on that one. Super stoked. So on to the next job. All right, guys, next on the lift is this WR450F that we're making street legal. Oh, and a couple other little things. But what I want to show you guys is how to wire up a rear brake light switch, because I don't know if I've ever actually filmed that. So yeah, it's pretty simple. But it does take a little bit of knowing how the electrical system works. So I'm going to start by, we've got our switch, hydraulic pressure switch right here, and we're going to put that in here in the rear. And so that doesn't take much. I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to film me removing that banjo bolt and putting this banjo bolt in. But these are nice. This is the K&S one. They seem to hold up pretty good. Just so you know, guys, if you do this or you have a shop do this, just know that these do not last forever. So 2-3 years down the road, it will probably fail. You'll probably have to replace it. Just anyway, I've got a customer who couldn't believe that after 3 years his brake light switch quit working and he wanted it warranted. Anyway, so so we'll get this installed and then I'll show you how we route it up and how we wire it so that it works. Guys, check out the new vest for the dog. We got more patches coming that say I'm a jerk so that people don't pet her and get bit. But she's super sad about it. Hey, Leia. He's a good dog. All right, so got this thing ready to go. We got the switch wires right here. We got the light wires here. So check this thing out. This side goes to the harness, this side goes to the light, and on this side it's a 3-wire. We got yellow, blue, and black. I'm assuming the black is definitely the ground. But on this side we just have brown and black. So the black is going to be, that could be power, I guess. I don't think so though. I'll check, but I think black is ground, brown is going to be power, and it's going to come up and it's going to the blue one. And then this yellow one is blank on this side. So the yellow one is going to be the brake light. See, fortunately, Yamaha thinks about this stuff. So does KTM. They give us a 3-wire light. So yellow is what we need to supply power to when we use the brake. So the way that works is we got the brake light switch down here, comes up, and all that happens is when you push this pedal like that, it connects these 2 wires. So what we need to do is pull power from the brown wire, come to one side of this, and then from the other side we go and we hit the yellow wire. And then that will cause it to light up when you hit the brake. So super, super simple, but some people just don't get it. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. I'm not going to use this plug because, well, I'm going to use the plug for the rest of it, but I am going to just cut that yellow wire free and use other bullet connectors to connect that. Just gets a lot easier. Also, I need a little more length here because these kind of don't want to get all the way over to where they need to be, mainly because of the way I had to route it up through here to keep it clean. So yeah, I'm gonna go grab some bullet connectors and stuff like that and I'll show you what we're gonna do. Alright guys, to start, so we got some blade connectors here. I'll show you those, they're actually pretty cool. But to start, we're going to take this apart so we can manipulate the wires a little bit easier. What we need to do is we need to get into this brown wire, and it is tight. So I think what I'm going to do is try to There we go. Got that like that. Now we're going to take just a razor and cut back some of this insulation. Now, just for grins, I'm going to test. Got our meter set to resistance. Now we're going to go to this black wire and then go to a ground and see if that actually is a ground. So yeah, that one comes in at 0.1 ohms, which is basically as good as it gets. And to the other one, it does have some continuity, but it's 1500 ohms. So that means it's going through the battery basically. So, or actually not through the battery, excuse me, it's going through one of the light bulbs to ground. So anyway, so that's ground, is black. So what we need to do is tie into this. So let me show you how I like to do it. By the way, guys, quick tool spotlight. This thing, this Leatherman skeletool, is really, really handy. I just carry it with me all the time, pretty much. I like it because it's simple. It doesn't have a bunch of stuff. So there it is. Got a clip to hook in your pants. It's all good. Got a carabiner. I guess if you wanted to hook it to something, it'd be great. Bottle opener. You open it up. It's got a flat blade here, and then this little thing pushes. You can go to a bigger flat blade, or stored over here is a Phillips that you can put in there. So I don't use the Phillips that often, so I leave it like that. And it's pretty nice because this thing actually has a lock to keep it in there. So put that back there. There we go. Then we got pliers, wire cutters, which I'm about to use, and then obviously it's got a knife, and that's it. I like it. Serrated, so cuts pretty much anything. Yeah, big fan. It's lockable, all that. So anyway, quick tool spotlight for you. So I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna strip each of these. I'm gonna use a connector here to connect to one of these wires. One of these wires that goes to the switch. So blade connector. These blade connectors are really neat because they have heat shrink on them and solder in them. So it's kind of a one-stop deal. You don't have to do much. You just put it on there, heat it up, and it takes care of everything. So get our crack torch. This is a female side. We get a male side. Before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and plug this in so that as I push it up in there, if it, you know, I don't have to then try to reach up in here and get it to hook up. So now we're good. Now what we need to do is tie into this yellow. Now we're going to extend this guy just using a little bit of extra black wire so we can run it over there and get to it. So this is where this little cordless soldering gun is awesome. It's on this relatively thin wire. We take some normal heat shrink. And she's actually been really good recently. So like I said, recap, we got power from the harness, comes up, goes to this lead. Oh, this lead going down to the switch. Then it comes back up from the switch, goes here, over into the brake light. So alright guys, so there is the light. I'm going to push on the brake pedal. Just like that. Super easy, but I thought you guys might want to see that. So like I said, all you got to remember is that this switch just connects those wires. So you just have to find power from somewhere and run it to the brake light. Now, if you have an aftermarket light that has 3 wires, a lot of times it'll show you on the schematic that comes with it, like which one's the running light, which one's the brake light, all that stuff. But anyway, that's pretty easy. Yamaha makes that way easier than a lot of people, so that's awesome. All right, guys, last job of the week. We got the molecule here, and he did that to his pipe. That is for real, dude. Nice work. So we got 60 pounds in the thing, and we're going to heat her up and see how that turns out. I think it's going to actually work really good. These FMF pipes that are the bare, like whatever, anyway, that style, work style, whatever, usually have pretty thin metal, and so they work really good with the heat. So I'll set you guys up here. Hey guys, sorry, I didn't get to shoot the outro in the shop because I got busy. Anyway, whatever. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this week's Shlog. I hope that was good. I hope it was informative. Hope you learned something. Hope you had fun. Whatever. If you have made it this far and you're new to the channel, give us a shot as a subscription. We have a ton of fun here. We do mechanical videos, ride videos, review videos, race videos, all kinds of good stuff. Everything to do with dirt bikes. So I love you guys. I hope you get out and spread the gospel of 2 wheels. And you know what I'm going to say? I hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you guys to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes!